feel comfortable saying? You know, everyone, the world is a small place. Go ahead. See? Maybe that's just
Oh, right.
Power on. Bluetooth ready to pair.
I want to officially welcome scheduled in January and February. We look forward to yet another one. And the prisoners are so grateful for the letters that we send. I received a letter back just a few weeks ago, and I won't read the whole thing. He says, "Hello, Ellen. I genuinely envy you." I told him about some other countries I had visited. And he tells me about biking through Ukraine, through Moldova, and through China. He says, "I've been to Siberia and to Russia." He says, "I'm curious about your impressions of Russia and Siberia. I think it must be much warmer where you live. When the leaves turn golden and red in Minnesota, the first snow is already falling in Siberia." He says, "I would like to see the education system in the States, to feel it from the inside." In addition, he goes on to say, "When I cycled through China and met Americans, Australians, and Canadians, I saw that we are very close in mentality. At least it seemed so. Europeans are different, more closed off, private, but with Americans or Australians, it's simple." And I love what he says. "Where are you from?" "I'm from Russia," he says. "Okay, drink, double drink. Wishing you all the best. Vladislav." And it's a long letter that he sent me. I was really deeply moved. Now, what we're doing with this effort is not only contacting these people who are in prison for trying to stand up to support Ukraine's freedom and sovereignty and democracy, but we're also supporting democracy here and elsewhere. And I would like to introduce Minnesota Senator Sandy Pappas, one of our partners in this work, who will say a few words about a resolution in support of democracy. Senator Pappas.
Thank you so much, Ellen, and this is wonderful that you all came today. I came to one of these similar events in September at the Hamlin Mitchell School of Law, and I also wrote to a prisoner, but I have not gotten a letter back yet, so I'm going to write her again and hope that she'll respond. As Ellen mentioned, I'm a state senator. I actually represent downtown St. Paul, the capital. You're in my district right now. And one thing that Woke Without Genocide has proposed and that we are supporting in the Senate is a resolution in support of democracy. You all have a copy on your yellow sheet. This is being authored by two legislators who represent the Ukrainian community that has settled in northeast Minneapolis. And that is Representative Kerry Dietzig, who also happens to be the majority leader in the Minnesota Senate, and Senator, did I say Senator? Senator Dietzig, and Representative Sidney Jordan, who represents that area as well. I am a co-author on the resolution. So you have, you certainly can read it yourself. We would love to have you sign it. And when you sign, please put your full address so that we can look up your district if you don't know it, which is fine. And we can then forward it to your own senator and representatives. We hope that we will be able to offer this on February 24th, which was the day that in 22 that Russia invaded Ukraine and began, as it says here, an illegal and brutal war. And that's our goal. We go into session on February 13th, so I'm not sure we'll make it because I think we have to go through committee, but with the majority leader authoring it, I'm sure it'll be rushed through the Senate. And we'll be very happy to pass it. Minnesota has been very supportive of Ukrainians and the country of Ukraine during the war. That's a little side story that I just thought of. So I actually am Greek. My last name is Pappas, and I belong to an organization of elected officials worldwide who are of Greek heritage. And last summer I was in Athens, and we had someone joining us from Ukraine. I'm sorry his name escapes me at the moment, but he is in the Ukrainian parliament, and he is of Greek heritage. So he was invited to join us. His wife and his daughter came as well. And me being an American, I said, oh, I saw Servant of the People on Netflix, and I loved it, and it was so much fun. And he said, yes, no, I did not like that. And because it really makes fun of parliamentarians, if you've all seen it. And he said Zelensky was just not, just wasn't qualified enough to be president. So he was a little concerned. But certainly President Zelensky has risen to the occasion and has been a tremendous leader in this war effort. But it was, I also talked to his wife and his daughter, and his daughter was very, very sweet. I'm going to get teary-eyed. I'm sure she was compartmentalizing as she kind of joked about, going into the bomb shelter and, having, living in a war zone. She was a little giddy about it. It's hard for a 16-year-old to go through that, anyone, of course, and it was good that they got a little break from the war and were able to come to Athens and go to some of the museums and go to the Acropolis while we were in meetings, as I like to say, with boring Greek politicians. So thank you all, Ellen, as usual, for having me here today. And my husband himself has been to Ukraine. We had friends who were in doing some kind of public health work in I believe, the capital, and he went there because he has relatives, Jewish, we're Jewish, and he has relatives who are Ukrainian, who were probably killed during the war, but he has been to visit there. So we do have our ties. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's an honor to be here with our partners and in acting in this extension of how we can help, and we're doing so in this room. And as Ellen already mentioned, I'm proud to be from the Museum of Russian Art, an American 501c3, an American museum devoted to the culture and the artwork of Russia, which is a complicated and vast history and region. When the most recent invasion happened, the staff itself, we were the ones that wanted to paint the flag onto the building, and have thus forward keep asking the question of ourselves, who are we in this moment as an American museum? How can we respond? And it's an ever-evolving conversation in our community. So we, as Ellen mentioned, we continue to look at exhibitions and artwork through that lens, not just look at this beautiful painting, but also looking through the lens of when it was created, by whom, where they were born, where they studied, who they were, in this realm of oppression as well. And then we take this into contemporary conversations as well. We also aim to be a place of celebrating culture and people. This is a time of great grief for Russians everywhere. Certainly Ukrainians, I say that just as strongly. And so that we can also give, a sense of hope, a sense of belonging, and a sense of pride in the art and culture. So it's a complicated mix, but we hope that we continue to serve our community well, and we're always open to conversation. So this threesome of us has been a very fulfilling project. It is an honor to work with these women and with all of you being here. So with that, I'll introduce, or would you like to?
No, go
All
ahead.
right. All right, so the founder of Russians Against War Minnesota, just a great friend and a wonderful activist, Elena Tyushina.
Hi everyone. So we prepared a short video today to highlight our year because honestly it has been a crazy year. Thank you for these women for believing in this project, because when I started and I was telling people let's write letters to Russian prisoners, everybody's like, what's wrong with you? Do you want to be on the FSB list? Do you want to be persecuted? Why would you do that? And who would write you back? Nobody ever believed me that anybody would write me back. And then I went with Michelle. Michelle's like, let's do this. And then she's like, there's Ellen, she also wants to do this. So ever since then, we actually hosted, and I'm so proud of that, our letter writing events are largest in the world, in the anti-war community. So there's about 50 cities in the world, in the US and abroad, that host letter writing events. And most of them are attended by just Russian immigrants who came to the country recently, right? Like they're fled from Russia and they're writing letters. Most of those people, they're hosting their events at libraries or coffee shops or somewhere, small. And the attendance to those events is usually from like 2 people. I actually know a guy who only had 1 person show up, 2, maybe 20 people the most. Our events, our first event had 65 people. Our other events had from 30 to 40 people. And I really think it's because of the partnerships that were formed, right? I'm not the one who's doing it by myself. I believe in partnerships, I believe in building bridges, and I believe everybody should be writing letters, right? Not just Russian-speaking people. We should have Americans writing letters like they do. We actually had Iranian people too, who came to our event last time at the museum in July. They had political prisoners. And we're expanding our project. So we've hosted our event at the Russian Museum of Art. We hosted it at Mitchell School of Law, where American law students wrote letters. Thank you to Ellen for that idea. What an amazing thing, right? American law students who are practicing law right now, thinking to defend rights for people and democracy later, are writing to prisoners who fought for democracy and were imprisoned for that. And then we hosted it at the synagogue, Mount Zion. And then we're at the Capitol. I actually find it very cool and awesome because our first protest was at the steps of the Capitol. And nobody knew we were there. We were just standing at the steps. We were like 10 or 30 people actually, but nobody knew about us. Somebody actually joked, they're like, is police even going to show up? Is it anything, something exciting going to happen? And nothing happened. Nobody cared that we were there. And now we're finishing the year at the Capitol, writing letters from inside of the Capitol with the senator presenting and giving a free tour. I think that's amazing. And thank you so much to Michelle and to Ellen for your partnership. I had a video made to tribute our year. It's under 3 minutes.
And with that, the 2023 season comes to an end. Good night.
I can just imagine how lonely and isolated it must be. I was sitting at the table thinking it was difficult to empathize with a person in that situation, and need that quote comes to mind. Lord, help us if we ever end up in that situation. I would want others throughout the world to just express their humanity, because we're all fighting for the same thing.
Представление себя, пишу, откуда я, а потом пишу, что моя бабушка из Украины. И что я вспоминаю, как смотрела на танцующих украинок, прошитых цветами блузках и больших цветочных венках.
Из тюрем заключенные пишут мне, получив наши письма, где находится Миннесота. Мы даже не знали о существовании Миннесоты. Они думали, что в Америке есть только Нью-Йорк, Калифорния и Флорида. И тут внезапно эти заключенные получают 20 писем из Миннесоты за один день. И они: вау, теперь мы знаем все о климате, о птицах, мы хотим приехать в Миннесоту когда-нибудь. Так здорово, что мы это делаем.
Исчадие маток, звездно-полосатая масата писата. Лед под ногами майора ломается легче, чем кошка в автомобиля. зачертила сверху денег. Говорят, начни с себя, я убил себе империю. Хозяин багровеет, нас не веселит никак. На нашем флаге белый снег и синяя река.
Он поддерживал Навального, выходил на митинги. Почему Анатолий попал в тюрьму? Он раздавал листовки «Хочу жить». Его слова перед тем, как он погиб. Я боюсь, что я вообще исчезну. Я боюсь, что они меня убьют. И я не доживу до выхода из спецприемника. То есть не доживу до 15 июня. Толя, мы тебя помним. И все, что ты делал, за что ты боролся, мы продолжаем бороться здесь и будем бороться. И я надеюсь, больше людей будут поддерживать нашу идею, потому что наша идея — это универсальная идея ценностей, права человека и свобода. Свобода думать, свобода быть собой. Коля не дали быть собой. Я надеюсь, мы сможем помочь другим людям и развивать это в себе.
Just yesterday I came back from Minnesota. I'm deeply moved by this experience and profoundly thankful to the energetic leader of this community, Elena Mitushina, for inviting me there and giving me a chance to speak with my own eyes.
Как мы можем как сообщество больше стать плотнее?
Свобода — это какое-то абстрактное понятие. Ну что такое свобода? Я тут, не знаю, голышом пробегу. Нужно ее делать типа какое-то практическое и социальное. Свобода,
я хотел сказать, что наш лидер Лена по-настоящему сумасшедшая в этом демократическом движении, а именно сумасшедшие люди должны этим заниматься. Поэтому ей отдельное спасибо за все.